Hey there, TigerShark here again. I came up with the idea to do the same drawing once a year. I guess that's not really an original idea, but I've never done it. So basically, I'm going to do a drawing on the first week of January. Then every following year, I'm going to do the same drawing again and see how I've progressed in my skill. I don't practice all that much, so it might not be a huge difference. Or it could be, who knows. Anyway, I know it's March, but I did do a drawing in January, I just haven't made the video yet. But first, I went back into two of my old sketchbooks to see some drawings from January of past years. I have even older sketchbooks, but they're buried in storage somewhere. Man, I really didn't draw a lot until recently. I have no drawings from January 2022, so I grabbed one from December 2021 and one from February 2022. The first is this weird root monster I made for some reason. I remember this one not coming out the way I wanted. Then there's this giraffe I drew as a child's onesie design that I never used. Apparently I basically drew nothing for like a whole year. So the closest I have to January of 2023 is from August 2022. This is a t-shirt design I made for my company Studio Duck Apparel that you can find on studioduckapparel.com. Then the closest I have to January 2024 is an illustration of how my brain works from November 2023. And finally an actual drawing from January 2025. These were all before I started digital drawing a lot. So anyway, on to January 2026. I went into it with no plan whatsoever. I really didn't know what I was going to draw, I just kinda started drawing. It turned out to be a bunny night. I had a lot of ideas as I was drawing, but a lot of them kinda fell by the wayside as I went along. In the end, it wound up being pretty simple without too many elements. I don't usually tend to change too many things even after the rough sketch. I feel like I usually like it enough not to bother. I just refine the lines instead of tracing it with clean line art because I like the sketchy look to it. Color is one of the things I really struggle with though. Here I was kinda trying to go for a goldish armor. I was having a hard time finding a color I liked though, so you'll see me mess around with it a lot. I thought the black fur on the rabbit would make an interesting contrast as well. And the sword is kind of pale green. I was hoping that would kinda make it look like it was glowing, but I forgot about that as I moved along, so I didn't end up finishing that. One of my favorite drawing tools is the smudge tool. To me it really feels like it makes the drawing. Blending the shading and melding the colors is just so satisfying. I decided the knight is standing in a dark cave, but I had to make sure the fur didn't get lost in the dark, so I used a halftone brush to leave some light around him. And it took quite a while to figure out the colors and shadows and stuff. I've never been good at backgrounds and perspective, but I wanted to set the outside scene as well, so I made a rough something. I have since learned how to draw using a 1 or 2 point perspective grid. Boy, that probably would have been incredibly useful here. I wanted to make an enemy that he had vanquished along with this treasure chest that I failed at drawing like 10 times. But by the time I'd gotten to this point, I was already at January 10th, and I didn't mean for this to take longer than a week. And I just didn't feel like working on it anymore. So anyway, this is what I have as the final. I'm hoping that next year I'll actually have improved enough to make a noticeably better drawing. I really like this one, but it just didn't come out as well as I wanted because I'm a mediocre artist. Honestly, I think the perspective grid could have helped a lot. Oh well, it's done now. So this has been Drawing with TigerShark. I hope your day is improved and your life is spectacular. I have other channels and projects that I would love for you to check out. I have another channel called Gaming with TigerShark where I post reviews of various indie games. I have music on Spotify, Amazon, iTunes, and Apple Music as my one-man band called Power Mouse. And finally, I have a clothing brand called Studio Duck Apparel featuring original artwork that I create myself. The links to these things will all be in the description.